Welcome to the Padres Postgame Show on the Padres Radio Network. Coming up, we'll deliver a full recap of today's game, including highlights from the biggest moments. We'll take a trip down to the manager's office to hear from Mike Schilt. Plus, we'll bring you scores from around Major League Baseball. The Padres Postgame Show starts now on the Padres Radio Network.
Here's the 2-2. That's hit hard in the air. Deep to left field. Beck is back. He is at the wall, looking up. Gonna go! Luis Campusano adds to his big night. It's his 8th home run of the season, and the Padre lead is 8-3.
San Diego Padres take care of business against Colorado Rockies in Game 2 of a 3-game series. An 8-3 victory over Colorado. I'm Braden Soprenta. This is the Padres postgame show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the fan of the Padres Radio Network. Filling in for Sam Levitt yet again as the Padres take care of business in Colorado. As I mentioned earlier, Luis Campusano with the big home run late in the ball game to really extend that Padres lead. His 8th homer of the season. San Diego tonight got the bats working, took advantage of a lot of mistakes from Colorado, got good starting pitching. Not great starting pitching, but good. It probably was better than what the stat sheet says for Dylan Cease. He went out there and gave you a lot of good innings and was that stopgap that we talked about in the keys of the game during the Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show. Dylan Cease ends up getting the victory as he finishes the night 5 2/3, 3 earned runs, 3 hits, 5 walks, 5 strikeouts, that 1 home run to Michael Toglia. And the only times where Dylan Cease really got into any problems was when, in fact, he walked batters. And walks are going to come around to kill you every single time. And that's what kind of happened with Dylan Cease today. But aside from those walks late and walking the bases loaded, he ended up getting a ground ball double play to almost get out of the inning. He just gives up that one mistake pitch to Toglia, and he ends the day with 3 earned runs when he probably could have gone 6 innings with only 1 run ball given up. Had the 5 strikeouts as well, but that's a great outing up in Colorado for the Padres. That's why Dylan Cease is the ace of the staff, going in, really shutting it down after a loss the night before and gives you that outing that you need. Mike Schilt managed the bullpen tonight as he would have if the game was close at sea level, as Jesse Agler mentioned on the broadcast. Totally agree with that. Morahone came in to finish up the 6th inning for Dylan Cease, got the 1 out. Jason Adam comes in, works 1 inning, only gives up 1 hit of shutout ball. Tanner Scott was lights out, only allowing 1 hit, shutout, and Estrada finished off the deal from a pitching perspective. Offensively for the Padres, this is one of those pad your stat games at the Mile High City. Profar, only 1 for 5 tonight, but he did get that nice single, tried to stretch it into a double and ran into an out. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. I mean, the Padres, biggest bugaboo of the night was running in outs, and the Padres, that's something that they'll have to clean up before their next game, something that they obviously cannot do down the stretch, and something that they cannot do in the postseason. But, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Offensively, though, Profar 1 for 5. Solano goes 1 for 5. He didn't really have his best night, but still contributing. Bogart's 2 for 4. Manny, a perfect 4 for 4. The runs scored. Jake Cronenworth was 1 for 5. Had a couple of RBIs. Kim, 2 for 5 tonight. David Peralta was 0 for, the only batter 0 for in the lineup, but he did end up scoring twice, and he did walk tonight for the Padres. Luis Campusano, 2 for 3, 2 runs scored, 2 RBIs in the home run that we talked about earlier as it came on to the postgame show. And Bryce Johnson helped the ball club out too, going 2 for 4 in that 9 spot with 2 RBIs himself. And, to do this without Luis Arraez, without Jackson Merrill in the lineup, Kyle Higashioka with the night off as well. It's great that the Padres got a lot of contributing factors in that lineup up and down. We talked about some of the keys of the game. Obviously, number 1 was, get a good outing out of Dylan Cease. That's exactly what you got. They got a great outing out of Dylan Cease, only giving up 3 runs. I mean, again, we talked about the mistake pitch to Michael Toglia, but aside from that, he was really good. The number 2 was to rock Kyle Freeland. Kyle Freeland goes 5 innings, allowing 5 earned runs on 8 hits, 3 walks, and 3 strikeouts. check number 2. And then the third one was have the core of the order tee off on Kyle Freeland. And that's exactly what they did. I mean, Machado with the 4 hits today, Xander Bogaerts with a couple of knocks. I mean, that heart of the order and the guys that have owned Kyle Freeland continue to do so, led by Bogaerts, Machado, and Kim. David Peralta, not so much. Donovan Solano, okay. Jake Cronenworth had okay or pretty good numbers against Kyle Freeland, but not great numbers. Overall, a good win. It was a little concerned with the base running tonight. I think the Padres ran themselves into a lot of outs. Very aggressive on the base pass. You don't want them to not be aggressive on the base pass. But some of the outs are just running into mistake plays. Yeah, the mistake play with Xander Bogaerts and Manny Machado and the double steal. I think that was more of a play by, and we'll get the full reaction of Mike Schilt in just a little bit. But, I think Xander probably saw something, as Tony pointed out, and thought he could go, then put on the brakes. And Machado had already committed to taking second, so ran into a little bit of trouble there. With the running on the bases on the double steal. Jurickson Profar ran into an out in the 4th inning, trying to extend his single into a double. So he runs into one. He gets picked off later in the game as well. Donovan Solano tries to stretch it to third in the 6th inning. He gets put out 9-1-5. So base running was not very good for San Diego. It needs to be better in the future. But if that's the only problem, nothing really to worry about there. Those are things that the Padres can clean up, and very uncharacteristic from them in terms of a base running perspective. Good pitching, good hitting, wins in Colorado. Padres get some help throughout Major League Baseball. We'll get you the full MLB scoreboard, but tonight it was the St. Louis Cardinals taking down the Los Angeles Dodgers, and it was the Tampa Bay Rays taking down the Arizona Diamondbacks. Those are the two most pressing scores, I think, for the Padres in terms of the division, and of course with the wild card, trying to take that number 1 wild card spot in the standings. As of right now, the Dodgers have a 2-game lead on San Diego for the National League West, with a lot to play, obviously. Padres have a 1-game lead on Arizona in the wild card and in the division standings. Looking at the wild card right now, top spot, San Diego Padres now have a 5-game lead over the Atlanta Braves for that final spot in the National League wild card, as the Braves lost again today they've lost the last 2. They're currently up 9-0 on Anaheim up at the Big A. So that could be back to 4.5 very shortly, unless the Halos decide to put a big comeback together. But the Padres, as I said, 5-game lead in the wild card, 1-game lead for the top spot on Arizona. We'll talk more about where the wild card standings are at, but the Padres are in a very good spot. They take care of business today. They rally after a tough loss last night. Losing the season series to the Rockies is kind of irritating, I think, on a lot of different levels. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if you continue to work throughout the season. And they're in a great spot right now on August 17th going into tomorrow. They can extend their winning streak to potentially 9 straight series wins since the All-Star break, trying to do that for the first time in franchise history. So a lot to play for throughout the rest of the season, and they're right there. They're right there on the coattails of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Only 2 games back, and Padres have been playing the best ball in the second half, followed by the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers. Got to try to keep outplaying them and keep that division alive, that division championship potential alive. So good bounce back for the Padres tonight after a last night loss. All the highlights and more coming up on the post-game show. We'll get you all of the scoring in tonight's game. We'll hear from Mike Schilt. We'll go around Major League Baseball, get you the reliever of the game, and we will also talk about tonight's player of the game. A lot of awards to hand out, a lot to discuss on the Padres post-game show. Padres win it tonight, 8-3 over the Colorado Rockies. This is the Padres post-game show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. 8-3 victory for the Padres over the Colorado Rockies in Game 2 of the three-game series. I'm Braden Sopretta filling in for Sam Levitt tonight as the Padres take Game 2 of the series and look good doing it. Let's get to tonight's highlights of the Padres' 8-3 victory.
What moments had the biggest impact on today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game recap on the Padres Radio Network.
Padres and Rockies, Game 2 of a three-game set. Padres trying to continue their 9-series win streak. In order to do that, they'd have to win tonight and tomorrow in order to do it. Starting off, not that great for the Padres. A 1-2-3 inning in the top half of the first. Xander kind of got hosed on a strikeout to end the inning. But Dylan Cease told the rubber for the Padres and needed to have a great night for San Diego in order to be the stopgap and get the Padres a victory. He looked good in the first. In the second inning, Manny Machado led off with a double, followed by a Jake Cronenworth single, and it gave the Padres a 1-0 lead in the top half of the second.
1 ball and no strikes. The pitch. Cronenworth lines it through the left side and a base hit. Tovar reached for it, couldn't get it. Doyle's got it in center, sends it in. No chance to get Machado. He'll score standing up, and the Padres take a 1-0 lead here in the second.
1-0 lead for the Padres turned into a 2-0 lead after Luis Camposano grounded out to Ezequiel Tovar that would score Jake Cronenworth, and the Padres off to a 2-0 start after 2 innings. Dylan Cease throwing up a bunch of zeros. He did it in the second and the third. In the top half of the fourth inning, it was Bryce Johnson out of the 9th spot contributing to the Padres' cause.
2 on and 2 out for Johnson, batting right-handed. First pitch coming, ground ball to the left side. That's through into left field and a base hit. Peralta's rounding third. Beck comes up throwing and not in time. RBI single Bryce Johnson, and a 2-out rally here in the fourth inning as the Padres extend the lead 3-0.
Padres take a 3-0 lead. They then add to it. Jurickson Profar gets a single right after to center field. Camposano scored, but Profar tried to stretch it into a double, got thrown out at second base to end the inning. But after 3.5, it was the Padres 4 and the Rockies nothing. In the fifth inning, Jake Cronenworth drove in another run with a ground out to first base that would score Xander Bogaerts, made it a 5-0 lead for the Padres. And then in the sixth inning, 2 more runs on the board. Bryce Johnson, a ground out force out that would score David Peralta as Luis Camposano got cut down at second. And then Xander Bogaerts came to the plate a little bit later and made it a 7-0 game.
1-0 pitch. Bogart swings, loops it into right field. That's going to get down base hit. Profar rounding third. Cave comes up throwing. It is not in time. Now it gets away behind home plate. Throw will go to third base, and Solano is out by a couple of feet.
So Solano gets thrown out of the bases. Profar gets thrown out of the bases. Profar got picked off later in the game. Not that great of base running night for the Padres, but at that point, they were up 7-0. Dylan Cease had gone 5 innings strong with not allowing a single run, and then things started to unravel a little bit in the 6th inning. Walks will kill you, especially leadoff walks. He walks Tovar to start the 6th inning. Brenton Doyle singles. Ryan McMahon walks, and the bases are loaded for Colorado. Brendan Rodgers grounds into a double play. It did score 1 run to make it 7-1, but Dylan Cease had a chance to potentially get out of the inning with a runner on third and 2 outs, and Michael Toglia, well, he didn't let Dylan Cease leave that easily.
3-1 the pitch. Toglia swings, sends it in the air to deep right center field. Peralta's back. He's going to watch. It's going to go. 2-run homer into the Rocky bullpen. Tolia's 20th of the year, and now a 7-3 game here in the 6th.
Tolia's 20th home run of the year to right center field, make it a 7-3 game. It's the closest Colorado would be the rest of the night, as that would be the only runs that they score against Dylan Cease. Cease tonight, 5 2/3, 3 earned runs on 3 hits, 5 walks, 5 strikeouts, through 101 pitches, and it's 59 of them for strikes. Later on in the ball game, a little bit of insurance. Not that you really need it, but it is Coors Field. In the top half of the 8th inning, Luis Camposano leading things off with his 8th homer of the season.
Here's the 2-2. That's hit hard in the air. Deep to left field. Beck is back. He is at the wall, looking up. Gonna go! Luis Camposano adds to his big night. It's his 8th home run of the season, and the Padre lead is 8-3.
Campusano's 8th homer of the year gave the Padres their 8th run of the night, and they would take that 8-3 lead into the 9th inning. Tanner Scott was great in the 8th inning. He only allowed 1 hit, stranded the runner, and then with a 5-run lead, it was Jeremiah Estrada shutting it down to get the Padres a victory.
First pitch on the way, and Romo hits a ground ball to the right side. To his right, Bogarts has it. Throw to first is in time, and the ball game is over. Padres pick up an 8-3 win here in Denver, and they have set up a rubber game tomorrow afternoon. They'll have another shot to win a 9th consecutive series.
San Diego Padres beat the Colorado Rockies 8-3. Padres score 8 runs on 15 hits. Do not commit an error. They left 8 on base. Colorado 3 runs, 5 hits, 2 errors, 6 left. Dylan Cease got the win. He's now 12-9 on the season. Kyle Freeland the loss. He is 3-5. Time of the ball game, 2 hours and 35 minutes with a 25-minute Todd Helton delay. Played in front of 47,483 on a 95-degree, partly cloudy evening in the Mile High City. Padres with the victory, 8-3. What did Mike Shildt have to say after the game? Let's head on down to the clubhouse and hear from the winning manager, Mike Shildt, as the Padres take Game 2 of the series.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Presented by Sinley Food. Spice up your culinary life.
We've talked a lot about the depth already this season, but for your offense to kind of show the way it did on a night when you sat 2 of your All-Stars, like, what does that say about this group?
Speaks loudly, doesn't it? It's a great point. One at the top of my notes. You give Jackson and Julio a day off, and you don't really miss a beat. You get really quality bats. Peralta good at bats against the lefties, had some history and some success against Freeland. But Bryce Johnson, man, that was huge. Goes out, gets 2 knocks, first 2-hit game, first 2 RBI game of his career. Came in a really good time. Took really good bats, lined out the other time. Could easily have 3 knocks. And then, the big boys did their part too. Manny, I loved Manny's approach. It can be so easy to, especially in this environment, try to, do something, get beyond yourself and try to hit homers and all that, which he's clearly capable of doing and will. But man, he just took a good at bats all night. Middle of the field, the other way. He was a big part of the middle of our lineup. And then, Bogey had a couple times where 2 outs, nobody on. Peralta did 2 outs, nobody on, and tough, long at bats, been able to reach, extend innings. I mean, it was a good team win.
Philosophically, over the course of a season, how important are those pieces for accomplishing the goals you want to accomplish?
They're huge. We've talked rightfully about the bullpen and having guys be able to. The deeper bullpen you have, the more you can, like you say, hold it. We talked about earlier today. You can hold it there, give you a chance to come back, especially a team that has a hunger, desire, ability, talent to come back. Same is true with a deep position player group. You get Wadey in there, he does his part, gives Kimby a blow. Peralta's come in, picked up Toddy. Johnson gives, Jackson a day off, 2 knocks, 2 RBIs. Campy and Higgy been doing their thing. So that's what good teams have. They have that depth to be able to pick each other up, and it's a great group.
Dylan, especially sharp early, sets the tone in a place like this.
Yeah, it was really impressive. I thought he hit the ball well. Some close misses. They worked some walks. But his stuff was really coming out hot tonight. Breaking ball was as good as typical. Really nice job by Dylan to get into that, deep into that 6th.
Seemed like he kind of took advantage of some free swinging and maybe getting those guys to chase. How have you noticed the way Dylan can kind of operate by reading what the other team's approach?
Yeah, Campy and him got a pretty good feel where the chase is. But he's also, you think about the plus stuff that this guy has. When you have plus stuff, you're throwing 98 with a nasty slider. You feel like you got to probably, cheat a little bit. When it comes out of the hand as a strike, you got to honor it. So when it goes strike the ball, and then you got 2 different plus pitches, you're gonna get some chase, especially if the chase is under or above, or just a little off. Also want to congratulate, listen, that was a nice ceremony for Todd Helton today. That was really cool, and our guys appreciated it. Well deserved. I had the privilege of seeing him play in college and followed his career. A great celebration for a great player, Hall of Famer. So we got our respect for his career.
He has a history of doing some things against the Padres for a long time. So
yeah, I'm glad I wasn't part of that history. But congratulations to him, and that was a nice ceremony for him.
All right. Thank you.
All right. I got here just a little bit late. You may have addressed it, but how crucial was it for Manny Machado to kind of get the offense going? Get the first hit, double, and just to get things going and then keep it going through the rest of the night?
Yeah, that's actually one thing I did speak about, but it's worth repeating. This guy in this environment clearly has easy power and can, get the ball out of here, and that can happen too. But he didn't get caught up in the environment and just took what the game gave him and showed the way for his teammates about the kind of at-bats we wanted to have. And, man, he just had tremendous at-bats, really professional winning at-bats.
Manager Mike Shildt after the ball game as the Padres take down the Colorado Rockies 8-3 to win Game 2 of the 3-game series. I'm Braden Surprenant filling in for Sam Levitt on the Padres postgame show. Still got a lot to get to on the postgame show. When we come back, we'll get you the relief pitcher of the game, take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard, player of the game, some of your phone calls, and much more. But the Padres beat the Rockies tonight 8-3. Los Angeles Dodgers lose to the St. Louis Cardinals. Arizona Diamondbacks lose to the Tampa Bay Rays. Padres 2 games out of first place behind L.A., and they now have a 1-game lead on Arizona at the top of the wild card standings. We'll talk more about that when we come back. It's the Padres postgame show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan, and the San Diego Padres Radio Network. Padres 8-3 winners over the Colorado Rockies. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Padres postgame show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Filling in for Sam Levitt tonight I will not be on the air tomorrow morning at 8 in the morning. I got the morning off due to filling in for Sam tonight. So no Braden Soprenet show tomorrow morning. We will be back in action next. Actually, no, we won't be on next Sunday either because I also have the pre- and post-game show next Sunday. So no Braden Soprenet show for the next couple of weeks. But usually I am on from 8 to 10 each and every Sunday morning. You can follow me on social media at @B_SURP. And I'm also a part of the Andy and Elston show throughout the week. So if this is the first time listening to me on the airwaves, I'm usually on during the week from 10 to 2 with Andy and Elston. And then on Sunday mornings from 8 to 10. Will not be on tomorrow, obviously, with working late in the night with Frank Marchese tonight on the Padres postgame show. A lot to talk about on the Padres postgame show. If you want to get involved, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We'll take some of your phone calls in a little bit, but do want to talk about how the Padres played tonight. Did a great job offensively, got good starting pitching, and the bullpen was lights out. Let's talk more about it with our relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher was able to come in and slam the door shut? It's time for the relief pitcher of the game in support of the Jacobs and Cushman San Diego Food Bank, providing food assistance to local children, families, and seniors in need. To get help or give help, visit SanDiegoFoodBank.org.
It's a tough award to give away just because the Padres bullpen is probably one of the best in Major League Baseball, and everybody that came in really shut the door down. Adrian Morejon did it in a third of an inning. Jason Adam got 2 punch-outs in 1 inning with only 1 hit. Tanner Scott gave up a hit 1 inning as well and 1 punch-out. But we're going to give it to, and you don't get a save for having a 5-run lead, but at Coors Field, maybe a 5-run lead seems like a 3-run lead or less. Jeremiah Estrada really closed it out in the 9th inning. 1 inning, 1 strikeout, was the only relief pitcher to go a full inning and not give up a hit tonight. So Jeremiah Estrada will be our relief pitcher of the game. Good bounce back for him. Second half, Jeremiah has been a little bit shaky at times. He has walked batters, but tonight was perfect in his 3 batters that he faced. A fly out, a punch out, and a ground out. And Jeremiah Estrada is our relief pitcher of the game. When we come back, we're going to get you the out-of-town scoreboard and the player of the game. We'll take some of your phone calls, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Padres over the Rockies tonight, 8-3. This is the Padres postgame show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan, and the Padres Radio Network. 8-3 victory for the San Diego Padres tonight over the Colorado Rockies. They get some revenge after last night, even up the series at 1 apiece, and we'll try to win the series tomorrow in the rubber match at 1:10, if I'm not mistaken. 12:10? 12:10 start. 11:10 for the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show, which is on the Padres Radio Network. EcoWater SoCal, your water should be perfect. Find them online at ecowatersocal.com. Padres pregame show tomorrow will start at 11:10 in the morning. First pitch at 12:10 as the Padres will try to win their 9th straight series tomorrow against the Colorado Rockies. That'll be their longest streak in Padres history of most series wins in a row. So continuing to play some hot baseball. We'll have more for you with the out-of-town scoreboard on where everything sits when it comes to the wild card standings, the division standings, with how everything played out. But first, let's get to your phone calls. Let's go out to Mission Beach, where Lee is standing by. Lee, what's going on here on the Padres postgame show?
That's so good. So I'm just questioning: is Matsui stuck? Are we? How can I put this? So he didn't pitch tonight, but do we trust him? Like, is he one of those guys that we could trust going down the road? My question is he the guy that can come in the 7th inning and lock down a game, or is he going to give up a home run and lose a game as he's done several times this year? So my question is Matsui not, has he lost favor? Like, he didn't appear tonight. Is he kind of downgraded, in your opinion?
In terms of like high leverage situations, I mean, you bring in Jason Adam and
exactly.
Tanner Scott. Those are going to be the guys that, with Robert Suarez, are going to be the 7, 8, 9 in some type of order. I think, I would imagine, just the way that you manage bullpens right now. I mean, you want those 3 in particular in playoff games, and when rests is a little bit different because you got a mixture of days off in between. Those guys are going to be 7, 8, 9 most likely in the postseason. Yuki Matsui's going to have to do some 7th and 8th inning work, though, with Jeremiah Estrada to finish out the season, because you can't go with Scott and Adam and Suarez every single night, and that's no guarantee that you're going to be, blowing teams out every single night, or, without a reach where you don't need to use those pitchers. So for the rest of the season, he's going to have to do some of that. But in terms of like in a perfect world, in a vacuum, if you see it, like, he's probably not going to be one of those pitchers. But he's under contract for 3 or 4 years, 4 years past, and then I think there's an option after that. I think he's a work in progress. He has shown signs of being a good relief pitcher, but I don't really think he's going to be in those spots, late in the season and come October time if the Padres do in fact make the playoffs, which I think they will. But Lee, I appreciate the phone call. Thanks again for joining us on the Padres post-game show. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Rocco in San Diego, you're on the Padres post-game show. What's going on?
Hey, man. So much fun to watch the Padres play as well, and I think we got to give a ton of credit to Schultz for setting the culture, having the guys compete for 27 outs on both sides on defense and offense. So I'm a Schultz believer for sure. But I do have a question. Today, Dylan Cease was struggling a little bit in the 5th and lost his command, a lot of walks, and was around 97 pitches. What do you think Schultz was thinking and keep him in? Not go with somebody else a little earlier.
Well, I think, you had a nice little lead right there too. It's not like he was going to give up the game at that point in time. He got the double play, and he was 1 pitch away from potentially getting out of the inning with only the one run that scored on the double play. So, and you got a guy like Dylan Cease on the hill. You got to trust that he could get out of those innings, and you go to save him when. All of a sudden that home run was definitely the part where, you look at it from a perspective of where you're at in terms of a lead. I mean, you were up 6-0, you were up, 7-0 in the 6th inning, and you give up the 1 run on the double play. The worst situation is you're sitting there is, Tollier hits a bomb, which is what ended up happening. But if Tollier hits a bomb, you're still up 7-3. You have a relatively comfortable lead. No reason to, get somebody in earlier than you need to when you got your guy like Dylan Cease. I think if it's like, Randy Vasquez, or maybe if Johnny Brito gets a start, or one of those younger players that are learning how to pitch in Major League Baseball, maybe you go out there and save those guys. But, Dylan Cease lost a little bit of command, but you need that guy to eat. You're going to need some starting pitching to eat some innings here in the final, month and a half of the regular season. So, I don't really have a problem with him taking him out after that. I think, you got to trust your guy to go out there and get that last out. And, Tollier got a good pitch to hit and put in the seats, and that's going to happen every once in a while in Major League Baseball. So, not really concerned with that. Rocco, I think Schilt did a good job managing the pitching staff today. And when you got that lead and you've been hitting the ball well, I think you could be a little bit, you can give your starting pitcher a little bit more of a leash than you usually do. So thanks again for the phone call, Rocco. Really appreciate it. Before we get to the next phone call, we got to have stations identify themselves. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identifications. The Padres postgame show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Padres beat the Colorado Rockies tonight 8-3. They win Game 2 of the 3-game series. We're here on the Padres postgame show. I'm Braden Suprenant filling in for Sam Levitt. We're going to get to the out-of-town scoreboard in just a little bit. We're going to take one more phone call. Nick in Mission Valley wants to weigh in. Nick, you're on the Padres postgame show. What's going on?
Braden, long time. How have you been, my friend?
I've been great, Nick. Just living life and coaching football and talking Padres baseball and doing major events at USD, which I know you're a big fan of the Toreros. So just doing all the same things I've been doing. What do you got for me tonight?
Hey, from a holistic standpoint or overall standpoint, I know Padres won today. Where do you see the ending of the NL West kind of falling? Like, who's winning the West and who's taking those top two wild card spots? Because it is pretty hot, especially now with the Dodgers losing today to the Cardinals.
Well, I'm not really in the predicting business. If I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I'd be making a lot of money on some bets. But I will say I think the Padres, I still think the Dodgers are probably the favorite just because they've been there and done that the most, and they're getting some guys back. But that being said, I think the Padres are playing the best. Honestly, the Padres and Diamondbacks are playing a lot better baseball than the Dodgers. And the Dodgers are 20 games above 500 right now. And the Los Angeles Dodgers are, right there near the top of the National League as well after the Phillies. And then they actually had the top spot for a while before the Phillies ended up winning 4 straight games. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities that you could see, Padres, Dodgers, Diamondbacks, and even the Giants sneak into the playoff, and all of a sudden you got 4 National League West teams in the postseason. I think the Padres got a really good chance to win the division. I think the Arizona Diamondbacks have a really good chance at winning the division. I think this is a 3-horse race right now, and each coming day things might change. And every coming week, with the way the teams are playing right now and how tight it is, it's going to be a drastic look in the standings. Every week for the next couple of weeks until the end of the season. Nick, I appreciate the phone call. Thanks again. Speaking of the National League standings, how'd everybody else do in Major League Baseball? Let's get to the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs and tell you about the scores you need to know in our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Meat, where great taste meets integrity.
Starting in the National League, which matters most for the San Diego Padres, we'll start with that Los Angeles Dodgers game. St. Louis Cardinals, LA Dodgers from St. Louis. It was the UC Irvine product, Andre Palante, on the mound for the Cardinals as he helped pitch the Cardinals to a 5-2 victory over the Los Angeles Dodgers. With the loss, it put the Padres, and the Padres win, put the Padres only 2 games out of first place in the National League West. Palante got the win. He's now 5-6 on the season. Bobby Miller, the loss. He is 1-3. Ryan Helsley picks up his 38th save of the season. Cardinals 5, the Dodgers 2 in St. Louis. Other National League games to report on throughout Major League Baseball. It was the Phillies beating the Nationals 5-1. Phillies put up a 4 spot in the 6th inning as they went into the 6th, tied at 1 in the city of brotherly love. Phillies with a 4 spot in the 6th, give them a 5-1 victory. They've scored 5 runs on 10 hits, 1 error. Nationals 1 run, only 2 hits, no errors. Christopher Sanchez got the dub for the Phillies. He's now 9-8. Former Padre Mackenzie Gore takes the loss. He is 7-11 now with a 4.66 ERA. Other scores in the National League: the New York Mets beat the Miami Marlins tonight 4-1. They are now 1-0 when Otto the Orange throws out the first pitch at Citi Field. 2-0 is Otto the Orange. Otto the Orange apparently has thrown out the first pitch a couple of times. 2-0. With that, when mascots throw out the first pitch at Citi Field, the Mets win. Unless Mr. Met does it, apparently. Then all of a sudden they lose. But the Mets win 4-0. They got a picket fence on the box score. 1 run in the first, 1 in the second, 1 in the third, 1 in the fourth. Luis Severino gets his 8th win of the year. He's now 8-6 on the year. Max Meyer takes the loss. He is 3-3. Mets improved to 64-59 on the season on a 4-0 blanking of the Miami Marlins in Flushing Meadows. Other National League scores to report. That's it, actually, as we get to interleague. Interleague action. Brewers double up the Guardians 2-1. Freddie Peralta gets the W for Milwaukee. He's now 8-7 on the year. Tanner Beebe takes the loss. He's 10-5. And Devin Williams picks up his 4th save of the season. Brewers 2 and the Guardians 1. Other interleague scores for you. The A's blanked the Giants tonight. Another good news for the Padres in the National League West standings, and really the National League wild card. A's get a run in the 5th and a run in the 6th to get their 2 runs. Giants shut out on 4 hits as Osvaldo Bido gets the win. He's 4-3. Hayden Birdsong takes the loss. He's now 3-3, and Michael Ortañez hits his first save of the season for the Athletics. All Royals tonight, they pound Nick Lodolo for a bunch of runs. They score 13 runs in the first 5 innings. 1 in the first, 2 in the second, 7-run inning in the third, 2 runs in the 4th, and 1 in the 5th. The Reds get their lone run in the 7th inning as it's a bludgeoning in the Queen City. Royals win 13-1. Michael Wacha gets his 10th win of the season. He's now 10-6. TCU Horned Frog Nick Lodolo takes the L. He is now 9-5. Tampa Bay do the Lord's work for the San Diego Padres. They beat the Diamondbacks tonight 6-1. Jeffrey Springs gets the win. He's 1-1. Zach Gallen gets hit with the loss. He's 9-6. Richard Lovelady gets his first save of the season. It's the Rays 6 and the Diamondbacks 1. Over at Wrigley Field earlier today, it was the Chicago Cubs beating the Toronto Blue Jays 3-2. Blue Jays rallied back late with a run in the 7th and the 9th, but the 3-run lead for the Cubs, or the 3 runs by the Cubs, ended up holding off Toronto as they improved to 61-63. Toronto now 57-66. Nate Pearson with the win, 2-1. Chris Bassett takes the loss. He's 9-12, and Jorge Lopez gets his 3rd save of the season for the Northsiders. Other interleague matchups today, it was the Pirates over the Mariners 7-2 as Bailey Falter gets the win at 6-7 now in the year. Luis Castillo takes the L. He's 10-12, and David Bednar gets his 22nd save of the season. That's 2 in a row for the Pirates, who lost 10 straight going into that game. Mariners have 4 losses in a row now and are slowly dropping in the American League West standings and definitely falling behind in the American League wild card standings. Braves have an 11-3 lead on the Angels in interleague play. Bottom half of the 8th inning at the Big A. Looks like the Braves are going to try to keep pace as much as they can with the Diamondbacks and the Padres. A win for the Braves would put the Padres 4.5 up in the wild card standings instead of 5. Our American League action, Astros come back to beat the White Sox after giving up 1 run in the top half of the first inning. They score 3 in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th, and get some insurance in the 7th and 8th. 6-1 victory for the Stros that add another game on the Mariners in the American League West. Hunter Brown with the win for Houston, now 11-7 on the year. Chris Flexing takes the loss. He is 2-6. Twins beat the Rangers deep in the heart of Texas. They won 5-2, scoring 4 runs in the final 2 frames, 3 in the 8th and 1 in the 9th. They go to finish off Texas as Ronnie Henriquez gets the win. He's now 1-0. Nathan Eovaldi gets tagged with the loss. He's 8-7. And Cole Sands gets his 4th save of the season. Red Sox over the Orioles, 5-1. They scored a lot of runs late to beat the O's. It was Brian Bello with the win, and now 11-5. Cade Pavic takes the loss. He is 1-6. Final American League game. The New York Yankees lose the Detroit Tigers 4-0. Tigers put up 1 in the first, 3 in the second to cruise to a 4-0 victory. They hold the Bronx Bombers to only 4 hits. It was Cater Montero with the W for the Tigers, and Carlos Rodon takes the loss. He is now 13-8. Tigers 4, Yankees nothing in Detroit. And that's a look at the out-of-town scoreboard. Whew. It's a lot to get in a small amount of time. I'm Braden Soprenet filling in for Sam Levitt on the Padres postgame show. Padres win it tonight, 8-3 over the Colorado Rockies. Final thing we got to do, well, tell you who the player of the game was.
Which player had the biggest impact on today's game? Let's find out who is today's player of the game. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Catch every game at Patties and Bites. Plus, enjoy $4 beer every Thursday. Visit valleyviewcasino.com today.
Well, as Mike Schultz said in his post-game press conference, had 2 All-Stars on the bench. This team starts with Manny. It finishes with Manny. Manny Machado, a 4-for-4 night with a run scored. Did work a walk as well. Team has been red hot with Manny Machado playing red hot. And in a day where a lot of guys getting some time off, Manny Machado stepped up big with his 4 hits. Luis Camposano, I think, a good close second with a home run in the 8th inning to kind of put the Padres over the top a little bit longer. He went 2 for 4 on the night. It was a pad your stats night for the San Diego Padres as they put up 8 runs on 15 hits, but everything's led by Manny Machado. He is tonight's player of the game. That'll do it for the Padres post-game show. I'm Braden Soprenet. No, we got one more break? Oh, we got one more break. All right. Well, we'll come back with put a recap on this. When we come back, we'll preview a little bit of tomorrow's game and get you the final box score as the Padres win 8-3 over the Colorado Rockies. This is the Padres post-game show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan, and the Padres Radio Network. 8-3 victory tonight for the San Diego Padres over the Colorado Rockies. I'm Brayden Soprano filling in for Sam Levitt. This is the Padres postgame show. Padres win Game 2 and trying to go for a series win. Tomorrow afternoon, it will be a 11:10 Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show, followed by a 12:10 first pitch in the Mile High City, as we will see Joe Musgrove on the hill for the San Diego Padres. We'll see if Joe can help the Padres get their 9th straight series victory. Standing in their way, Dinger the Triceratops and the Colorado Rockies. They'll be going against Bradley Blakelock of the Colorado Rockies. He has not factored into a decision yet this year and has a 4.05 ERA. Padres and Rockies tomorrow, 12:10 first pitch, Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show at 11:10 right here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We talked about the player of the game. It's got to be Manny, who was 4 for 4. Could have handed that out to a lot of different players. It was one of those pad your stats nights. This might have not been the play that decided the game, but it was a big blast for the catcher for the Padres. It is tonight's play of the game.
What was the crucial play that determined who came out on top? This is today's play of the game, presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
Here's the 2-2. That's hit hard in the air. Deep to left field. Beck is back. He is at the wall looking up. Gonna go! Luis Campusano adds to his big night. It's his 8th home run of the season, and the Padre lead is 8-3.
Play of the game. Luis Campusano, he went 2 for 3 tonight with 2 runs scored, 2 RBIs, a walk, had a big night for the Padres. So did Manny Machado, 4 for 4 with a run scored. Bryce Johnson contributing at 2 for 4. Great showing by the Padres offense. Not great for the base running, but great showing by the offense tonight as they beat the Colorado Rockies 8-3. Padres got their 70th victory tonight on August 17th, 2024. Last season, it was mid-September where they won their 70th game of the season. So what a difference a year makes. As I started off the Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show, talking about the differences, and now closing it out on the postgame show with the differences. I'm Brayden Soprano. This is Frank Marchese helping me out on the Padres postgame show. Thanks for all of you making our evening a part of your evening as the Padres take down the Colorado Rockies tonight, 8-3 from Colorado. Tomorrow it will be, as I mentioned before, Joe Musgrove for the San Diego Padres going against Bradley Blakelock of the Colorado Rockies. Musgrove 3 and 4, the 5.20 ERA this season. Blakelock is not factored into a decision. He has a 4.05 ERA. First pitch tomorrow, 12:10 p.m. Pacific time, with the pregame show, Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show, starting at 11:10 a.m. on 97.3 The Fan and San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan of the Padres Radio Network. Tonight's final score, again, the Padres win 8-3 over Colorado. They scored their 8 runs on 15 hits, no errors, leave 8 on base. Colorado, 3 runs, 5 hits, 2 errors. They leave 6 on base. Winning pitcher tonight, Dylan Cease. He is now 12-9. Kyle Freeland takes the loss. He is 3-5. Top of the ball game, 2 hours and 35 minutes with a 25-minute Todd Helton delay in front of 47,483 fans in the 95-degree, partly cloudy evening in the Mile High City. No Brayden Soprano show tomorrow. I will be off because I'm doing this show tonight. So I will talk to you guys all again on Monday with Annie and Elston from 10 to 2. Brayden Soprano signing off for Frank Marchese. I'm Brayden Soprano filling in for Sam Levitz. Calling it a night as the Padres beat the Rockies 8-3. You've been listening to the Padres postgame show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network.